Hey, yo, what's up, Worcester? And welcome to our second segment of The Sit Down here with Margie and Armida, a.k.a. RG.
Oh, I love it, yes.
Of Now I Thrive, a radio program that is aired Wednesdays at 5.
Yes.
On Unity Radio 97.9 FM. I got it. I was good. Yeah, I was worried about that. And I just want to do a quick little shout out to our sponsors. Today is The Village, Worcester's Afrocentric Cultural Learning and Healing Center. They are located at 4 King Street, and they do have a Facebook page, and I do believe an Instagram as well. You can also come visit anytime, but you can give them a call too at 774-253-5682 if you have any questions or you want to join or you want to come down, check it out. And I know there's office space available, so if anybody looking for an office, hit up Shaisha. She might be able to hook you up. And also, speaking of Shaisha, our Story Edutainment, which is another great program that does come out of The Village amongst many others. So thank you, our Story. Thank you, The Village. And with that said, we're going to get back into you guys and your show. And just tell me a little bit more about your show. Like, what is it you do each week? Why would I want to tune in? I do. But why would, if I didn't, would I want to tune in each week?
Yeah, that's a great question, Manny. So our show is really focused, and we break it down per month, honestly. And I'll tell you that Armida and I do very little planning on as to what we're going to be talking about every week.
Yeah.
And so overarching, every month we're following a new natural law. So like this month we've been into the law of vibration. Last month we were the law of divine oneness. So there's 12 universal natural laws. And so we find that, well, because we're trying to teach people how to live in those laws and be aware of them, that having all of the shows that we talk about in the 4 weeks that is in each month, that bringing them that law is really important. And so when we decide what law we're doing that month, Armida then will align what training topics she wants to talk about with that law.
Yes, like a relationship topic, which I gotta say, most topics fall under a lot of those laws, because that's how we bring flow into our lives. So that's how the show, like when I was doing the show by myself, it was all about relationships. So I always had a training topic. We would answer viewers' questions to help you bring flow into your life and into your relationships. Because if you think about it, we're in a relationship to everything in our environment. We have a relationship to money. We have a relationship to food. We have a relationship to the people in our lives. We have a relationship to clothes. We have a relationship with everything.
Yeah.
And there's, when our relationship to ourselves is not in balance, then a lot of our relation that reflects, because we're projecting, we're mirrors into the relationships outside of us, right? And so we're trying to manipulate and control our environment and the people around us when we feel disconnected and out of flow. So the relationship topics is to get you to take responsibility for yourself, how you're showing up in the relationship, and from there speaking your truth, right, with love and compassion. So that's been the show since it was born a year ago. And then Margie, when her and I were brainstorming on how we're going to work together and how we can do things differently, and she was like, how about the 12 universal laws? She brought that idea onto the show, and I'm like, brilliant, because technically the techniques and the tools that we talk about in relationship training do bring in a lot of those techniques, and those universal laws coming into flow. But I never thought about talking about them individually and having like a real topic about it. And so when Margie and I were talking, and it was her idea, she's like, well, let's talk about, there's 12 universal laws, there's 12 months in the year. How about we incorporate that into the show, and we talk about each law, one law per month. And then from that space, then we move on to a training topic about relationships, because it tends to be one of the things we struggle the most when we're out of alignment, right? And I gotta say, it's been our second month, and I just love the flow of it, and how beautiful and magical, and how everything aligns so beautifully. And she's absolutely right. And I'm going to let you talk a little bit more about how you thought about, I mean, you did, but add more to this. If I missed anything, I feel like there's little preparation. We know what law we want to talk about.
It comes naturally.
Right. Yeah. We're familiar with the laws, and we set those intentions, and we don't try to manipulate. So we show up very open, very connected to our heart space, and things just flow just magically. And I just truly, I'm so grateful. And it's so much more fun to create with her and to be on the show. And I mean, we could literally do it for hours. Like,
Honestly, Armida and I could every time we got to the end of the segment, I'm like, was that an hour already? Like, we need more time to talk.
Right.
We need more time.
That sounds like a very familiar song that we like to sing over at Ephraim.
It is.
Not enough time.
It's the song of my people. But honestly, it was wonderful to be a big guest on the show. It's been absolutely tremendous to be co-creating with who I feel is just like, we're sisters. Like, I feel like
she's my twin soul sister.
Yeah, like we have just
you're her second twin.
Yes, I feel like Armida and I have known each other in many lifetimes, and so it's great to be able to be consciously connecting in this one and doing it in such a meaningful way, because I do really feel like not only like we're way showers, we're showing how to live in those spaces, right? But we're bringing that to other people. And whether or not you take the advice now, or you take the advice 6 months from now or 12 months from now, like, we're bringing that awareness to lots of people, more than we would be just doing on our own,
right?
More than we would just be doing in sessions, more than she would just be doing in coaching,
right?
So we're allowing it to reach so many people, which is really like such a beautiful thing to be able to do with someone that you feel like that you love so much, because I love you.
I know, I love you too.
And so like being able to do that from that space, it's awesome.
Yeah, and it's great that you do have that platform so you can reach more people, because it's difficult. We live in a pretty difficult world, you know. There's a lot of people who are always at odds, and you know, for whatever reason, well, we just discussed it. It's because, you know, their own maybe trauma and fears.
Right.
So everyone's trying to fit in, and what's crazy about everybody fitting in is it doesn't leave room. There's, if all the puzzle pieces are shaped the same, then it's not a puzzle,
right? And
nothing's interlocking, right? So how can we encourage people and get that message out? Even because, I mean, you're on the radio, there's nothing more you can do than, I mean, I guess we can go to TV, but you know what I'm saying? We want to have more people trust in the process and being able to interlock with each other to live more in harmony. How can we spread that message or have people understand? It's so, because, and the reason why I bring this up is there's just so much hard relationships going on around me.
So I'm going to go back and say, you say life can be difficult, right? Remember, our beliefs are creating our reality. So first and foremost, if we keep believing that life needs to be difficult, then life is going to continue to be difficult for us because it's a belief that we have, right? So being aware of how we're talking to ourselves and how we're expressing ourselves is really important if we want to be able to shift things. And the second thing is, we think we need to help other people. We think we need to do something really actively. But the best thing you can do is just embody what you want other people to follow, right? It always starts with you. Change starts with you. So the best way you can do that is just by showing up with the people around you, within your relationships, within the community, in your workplace, within your family, showing up with that energy. It's going to have that effect.
And those
on
good
people.
intentions.
And those good intentions, right? That's what's going to really make a difference.
So instead of helping everyone else, so you told me this all the time.
Yeah.
Mind your business, help yourself, and love yourself more, and then that'll exude and then spread.
And
like wildfire.
There's always going to be people who are asking for advice or asking for help, and always,
what do you do with that?
You point them back to themselves,
right?
You don't.
I knew the answer to that.
Yeah, you don't. You don't say like, I think you should do this. You say like, for example, when someone asks me, how did you do this, or how did you get there, or what do you recommend? I say, well, these are some books that I read.
Right.
You could try them out.
Right.
Let me know how you feel about
reading.
them. So I'm not saying just books. You can say, try out this yoga class. Try out going to a sound healing. Try out this. This is what I tried.
Right.
You can try that. If that's not in alignment with you, if that doesn't resonate with you, doesn't feel like that's something you want to try, then don't try something else. But this is what I did. I can tell you what I did.
Right.
And you can decide whether that's for you.
And we're all
not.
different, so.
And we're all different, so it's not a one size fits all. Everyone is interchangeable. So there's lots of different things that people can do. It's not just a one track fits all. Like the way that Armida and I have learned and continue to learn are very different.
Right.
The classes that we choose to take are different. The people that we choose to take those classes for are different, and that's fine. That is okay. There's like Armida is not getting energy transformation sessions and going to a bunch of sound healings, right? That's okay.
Right.
I'm not getting a bunch of coaching sessions. that's okay.
Right.
What one works for one is not going to work for all. You got to find out what works for you individually.
Right. There's so many different modalities, and they all just bring you back to center, back to you, right? And even like as a coach, like when we've worked together and you're like, what should I do about this? I'm going to give you the answer that I would do for me. So I always empower, and you know that as a client, like let's connect. What's your intentional energy for saying yes? What's your intentional energy for saying no? What's your intentional energy for doing anything? Always come back to intentional energy, and from that space, make that whatever choice and decision you have to make. And even within the show, when we're given relationship guidance, we always say, like, don't give your power away. We get into this trouble because we give our power away to the people. What do you mean by
that? You tell me that all the time. What do you mean by don't give your power away? Because it's not like I put my power in a little bag and say, here you go. How do I give my power away? I do it all the time, but how?
Right. So we give our power away anytime something happens, we get triggered, we get upset, and we make it about the other person, and we don't take responsibility for ourselves, right?
What do you mean? Because what if they're actually the problem? You know, they're causing problems in my life.
Manny.
Yeah, I know.
No. Other people don't create problems in your life. You let it be a problem in your life.
You accept that.
So is it that I just disagree with what they're doing or how they're saying things or whatever, and then I internalize it, and then I make the problem for myself?
Right.
Because it's about me.
You create a story. Okay. So they did something that triggered you that had nothing to do with you, because we're always projecting, right? And this is why we're like walking, talking time bombs. We're in survival mode, and we think everybody's out to get us. So any little thing triggers us. Then we get upset. The other person's doing something that has nothing to do with you because they're in survival mode. They can't possibly be thinking about you.
So let me ask this question. Sorry to interrupt, but they're saying Manny's a bad person, Manny this, Manny that, right? So in my ears, what's coming to my hearing is literally them talking about me, right?
Okay.
So how do I keep my power and not, like deflect all that, oh, Manny's this, Manny's that, or whatever it is that I feel is is making me create a problem for myself. How do I deflect all that noise?
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Do you agree with what someone might be saying about you?
No.
So why feel the need to defend yourself for it?
I don't know. Is it the fear thing?
It's the people-pleasing thing.
People-pleasing thing. We talked about this.
So it's all interconnected.
Right. Yeah. All right. It doesn't affect you unless you accept it and you believe that about yourself. And then when you agree with them, then it becomes about you, right? And then you create this story in your head. And then we have to realize, like, you give your power away when you allow other people to interfere how you're showing up for yourself and for the people around you.
And to write that story for you.
Right.
Well, not write it for you, but you allow them to help you write that story.
And here's the thing.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah, if people are going to listen to something that's being said about you and make a determination on how they feel about you based on someone else's awareness of you, then that's not the type of people that you need around you. Right. You need people
and you can't do anything about that. You can't go to those people and try to fix the narrative that they've already formed. You just got to let them be them.
You got to let them do themselves and let them come across their own lived experience, their own direct evidence.
So here's the thing. You're not responsible for the versions of you that live in other people's head.
Not at all.
Ooh.
You're not responsible for that.
Say that again?
You're not responsible for the versions of you that exist on other people's head.
Did y'all hear that? That's amazing. I like that.
I saw that quote somewhere. It's not my quote, but I thought that was beautiful.
I need to let that ring in my head.
Yes.
Because that's one of the... I think that'll be very helpful. If somebody is making... I'm trying to change how I talk here. If somebody... is causing that's wrong. No. If I'm reacting to how someone is and I'm making the story that they're putting out there stick in my head, I think that'll be perfect to say. I'm not responsible for the version of me that lives in other people's heads. I love that.
And when you agree with them, that's when you give your power away, because now you're agreeing to their version of you that lives in their head.
And with great power comes great responsibility. And shout out Stanley.
You're also putting yourself in like this victim perpetrator type of roles, and those roles aren't real.
No, they're just...
We actually have to go to another break already because, that's how time flies when you're having fun. But when we come back, I do want to talk more about the victim mentality and how it, we could change that to help ourselves grow and just be kinder to ourselves. We were talking about that too.
Yes.
Show up for ourselves, love ourselves. We have to escape that victim mentality. We're going to talk more about that on the other side in just about 2 minutes. We'll be right back. This is the Sit Down with Margie and Armida, aka RG. I love it.
Me too.
Now I Thrive on Unity Radio 97.9 FM. We'll be right back, Worcester.